Hey guys, here we go into a video on Manny Pacquiao versus Errol Spence and how this fight is going to be exactly like Ali versus Liston. It's going to be an incredible matchup and I can't wait. So first off, we're going to be taking a look here at the Phantom Punch. Okay, now we're going to be breaking this down at the end, but this is one of the most famous punches in boxing and I'm going to teach you and kind of explain to you why it happened and why it worked. But first we're going to be taking a look at how Manny Pacquiao likes to fight southpaws, okay? Obviously, his initial concept is fighting off of his opponent's jab, okay? And he loves to fight off of his opponent's jab. As here, he's going to be annihilating David Diaz as David Diaz meets him on the line with his weight, and Manny Pacquiao continues to time his jab as he meets him on the line and counter him with punches like that over the top, countering him with massive hooks like this, countering him with the jab, slipping his head to the back foot. Again, one of the things that Pacquiao does most often is initiate his attacks or his sequences with his jab, as we see here. And then an excellent pull counter here, right over the top of David Diaz's pendulum step right hand. And we're going to be coming back to this clip at the end of the video, so stay tuned. But here, Ali comes out and immediately starts attacking Sonny Liston's jab as Sonny Liston tries to meet him on the line as he's pendulum stepping forward, trying to take control of the center of the ring and shooting off that huge excellent jab, and immediately Ali lands the Phantom Punch. This is 1 second into the round, and Ali is already fighting against Sonny Liston's jab. Now, other tactics that Ali used, again, as we saw Pacquiao doing, attacking with the hook, using the hook as a timing. As Liston brings his weight forward onto the line, Ali looks to meet him there with his own hook there, as well as here, fighting off of Ali's rhythm, or fighting off of Liston's rhythm and timing. As Liston meets him on the line, Ali prepares to see that shot coming, right? See that rhythm and that timing, because Liston was a very rhythmed fighter, and we're going to take a look at that as we see here, that jab coming. And I want you to pay attention to this jab here. Looks very similar to the punch that he gets knocked out throwing. So getting onto the front foot, shooting this jab with his weight there, and he's going to be pendulum stepping forward, jumping into his next attack, and Ali's catching him here with the hook. Again, this was also very early in the fight. Now, we're going to be taking a look at Errol Spence as a fighter, and as he comes forward with very similar timings and similar patterns, he's going to be coming forward with a very similar jab too, as he puts this jab out. And now watch his waist, watch his hips. He's got all his weight on the front foot. He just shot this jab, and now he's going to be bringing his back leg forward, his front leg forward, and he's going to be pendulum stepping, okay? Now, I call this move a pendulum step, even though it looks kind of like a little bit of a shuffle, because of the fact that when you train this as a fighter, you want to be practicing the full pendulum step motion. If you want to looking for details on that, check out my Patreon or check out the videos on my channel, the training videos. I have tons and tons of videos dedicated to teaching this on my Patreon or wherever. But he's going to be constantly using this rhythm and timing as, again, he gets his way to the front foot, and now he's going to shoot this jab, and now he's going to bring that back leg forward, bring this front leg forward after, and pendulum step forward. Again, putting pressure on Bundu. Now, again, continuing to go forward with that same kind of motion, gets his way to the front foot, and then shoots the straight left hand. Now he's going to do the same thing, and look at how he shifts his way to the back foot. He takes this step, and he's going to be taking a big, big, big pendulum step so he can throw this uppercut here. Now, this is very, very, very important, okay? The idea that he's going to be always stepping forward. Let's just watch this clip forward one more time as his momentum continues pushing him and driving him forward to the front foot all the way up until he gets into this big pendulum uppercut. Now, right away, this is not always going to be a tactic that works out for him. As we can see, he does the same thing, gets his weight on that front foot, and then Bundu's countering him. Now he puts his weight on that front foot, and he's trying to pendulum step and shoot his weight backwards now. And again, getting his weight there, he's going to shoot his jab off this timing, and Bundu's immediately countering him. Now he moves his weight off the line, and then back onto the line again with that jab here, and immediately getting countered. Boom, boom. Again, very, very predictable timing and pattern for both of them. Now, Sonny Liston here. Where have we seen this uppercut here? The one that just knocked this guy out. Well, we just saw Errol Spence knock Bundu out with a very similar punch. And what I want you to pay attention to is Sonny Liston's feet. Again, Sonny Liston fights in one position. He comes forward, pendulum stepping and shifting his weight and kind of jumping and hopping forward so he can get his feet to the ground closer to you and step into his bigger punches. Again, allowing him to carry his weight more into his opponents. Again, here he is taking another big step and landing a big power pendulum right hand there. Now, he's going to be doing the same thing here. Again, another big power punch. But here he is again, stepping forward with that big shot. Now watch him. He's going to give a little bit of a pendulum step here as he shifts his weight in the air and launches himself into another right hand. Just watch that real close. His feet, boom, he gives a little shuffle in his hips. And now he's going to do it again, shift forward, and throw a left hook. I just want you to pay attention to that. Front foot, shifts in the air, back foot, and then shifts forward into the left hook. And again, he's doing that same motion here. Stepping forward, control with the lead hand, and walk into a big right hand, right? And again, putting all his weight into it. Again, another clip, very, very, very similar to Spence, right? Very, very, very similar, except that he's a southpaw, right? Now, where else have we seen this before? Well, this is the uppercut, okay? And here's Patterson using his lead hand control, one punch, two punch, to land a counter punch. Now, this is very, very similar to Manny Pacquiao, right? Manny Pacquiao constantly looking for lead hand control so that he can let his punches go and explode out of those positions, but he always starts with his right hand, right? So I do think that this is going to be a timing that will be also very effective for Manny Pacquiao. As we can see, Errol Spence has a very similar timing to Liston, or a similar rhythm and a similar fighting pattern as he comes forward with this pendulum uppercut, and it gets perfectly timed. Now, will this be a repeat of Ali and Liston, which, again, we're going to be taking a look at in a second, or will it be a repeat of this? Okay, now he lands an excellent shot, but Sonny Liston eats that shot and just comes forward and just continues to blast forward and land big, big, big power pendulum punches against this guy. Again, let's take a look at some of these clips again as Liston steps into these punches. Again, he's going to be stepping into this big left hook here. Boom. Stepping into that right hand. Stepping into this left hook here. Boom. Again, a lot of that motion. Now, here we go into the breakdown of Ali versus Liston and why Ali was able to hurt Liston with such a seemingly ghost of a punch. So, here's Liston getting on the front foot and shooting that stabbing jab to the body. Now, this is the same position that he would be using to pendulum step out of to start jumping into his next right hand. And I want you to pay attention to the fact that Ali is going to be spending most of the fight sitting here, baiting the jab, or sitting here on the back half, baiting the jab, okay? But he wants that jab coming, okay? Now, watch. What I want you to pay attention to is actually, though, Liston, as he's coming forward and he's getting his way to the front foot, and now he's going to take this big step here and throw that pendulum right hand right to Ali's body. Again, watch him step forward, right? And take this big, big, big step. Again, a very, very easy pattern to recognize. And again, Liston coming forward with these pendulum steps, these little shuffles, okay? But you practice this move with the pendulum step, all right? So coming forward, and look at Ali slip to the other side, right? Expecting the jab to come from Liston. Again, he understands this rhythm. He understands that timing. He just has to wait for him to get into the correct position to take advantage of it in the way that he wants. And again, Ali just playing with him, right? Waiting for the jab, baiting the jab, waiting for it so he can get his pull counter. And now Ali is moving his way to the back foot. And I want you to pay attention to, as we go back, Liston's weight. He's going to be shifting his way to the front foot here. And as he gets his way to the front foot, he shoots this jab. And now right after this jab, watch his weight. He shuffles forward with the pendulum step. Again, using his weight and using this move to close the distance against Ali as Ali looks to get off the line from the back foot. Again, this is a very hard place to enter the line against your opponent because if they throw a 1-2, they may catch you, right? So you have to be very careful with your pull counters. So Ali moving away, right? Now this is going to disincentivize Liston from throwing his 1-2 because Ali is anticipating it. He's already running away. So now Liston wants to prepare for Ali running away from his pendulum jab, not attacking him. Again, this move, Liston's recognizing it as pushing Ali off of his line. So now Liston has to find a new strategy. And again, Ali very vigilant over that jab and that jab timing. Now look at this right hand to the body from Liston. Again, penduluming forward, getting all his weight on that front foot, taking that big pendulum step as Ali tries to cross the line because the ring is cut off here, the ring is cut off here, and as Ali escapes, Liston tries to take his free punch, and he takes that big step right in the middle of Ali's line and lands a big power shot, I think, to the body. It doesn't matter if it lands or not. The fact that he's stepping into that punch over and over and over again. And now again, watch Liston stepping and pendulum stepping forward. This motion, again, getting his weight to the front foot. Now he's going to jump. He's going to bring this foot forward, and he's going to rest his head on his back leg, right? Boom. Now his weight is on his back leg as he takes a step forward. Very simple pendulum step motion that he's using to hide his other punches. Now again, stepping into that big punch and threatening Ali's position. Coming forward, slipping, and again, Ali is waiting for that jab. And Ali's on the back foot, the jab is coming, and here comes that punch. The phantom punch right now. And Liston is getting his weight on the front foot, and now he's about to pendulum step. And he's expecting Ali to run. But Ali has said, okay, I know what he's going to do now. He's going to pendulum step, and instead of throwing his right hand, he's going to try to chase me. So now I know what he's going to do. And now he times it perfectly so that when Liston jumps up with his pendulum step, he's going to be using this momentum. Now it's this momentum that allows Liston to add power to his other punches, okay? So when he jumps up, he's hoping that when he lands on the ground safely, his momentum will be carried through his weight transition and he'll be able to add that extra power. However, when Liston gets his weight on the front foot, all of that momentum has to come from somewhere. And it comes from his front foot here. And he's going to be jumping up. And at this moment, Ali catches him with that punch as he's driving his weight up into the air with the pendulum step. And Ali is able to land a punch that not only has the power of his punch, but it has all of the power of Sonny Liston's left hook, of Sonny Liston's famed left jab, of Sonny Liston's powerful left weight transition. It has all of that power because Sonny Liston was about to use all of that momentum to jump into another punch to attack Ali, but Ali read his position and was able to make him pay for jumping into that motion. Now, the reason for this is because of the fact that Sonny Liston only has one position, okay? As he's standing in front of his opponent, he doesn't really bring his shoulder forward unless he's punching, right? Now, this kind of a feint, but it's kind of a real-time feint or a real-time probe, and he's not checking how his opponent reacts to this stuff very often, okay? And that allows his opponents to set things up, or rather, Ali to find ways to set up and attack his jab. Because again, without shifting his weight to the front foot, he doesn't have an ability to jab with his rear hand. And what do I mean by that? He doesn't have an ability to feint or probe or set another punch up with his right hand, okay? Which means he has to set up all his punches with his left hand, which makes him very predictable. Now, we're going to go back here. We're going to take a look at Manny Pacquiao, and he's going to be landing the phantom punch on David Diaz. So David Diaz is going to be shifting his weight forward, stepping forward, getting all his weight on that front foot, and he shoots this cross. Very similar to Sonny Liston's cross. And now he's going to be doing the same exact pendulum step forward, okay? Whoop. And as he does, Manny Pacquiao pull counters him and lands a beautiful shot. Now this is almost exactly what happens to Sonny Liston. The only difference is Manny Pacquiao is catching him on the way down and not on the way up. So he does still get some added power in here, but he's catching David Diaz kind of on the back foot, not in the air. Again, another one of the reasons why Sonny Liston was so affected, because he was actually in the air. He didn't have any part of his kinetic chain to hold him or to brace himself against the punch. Whereas David Diaz is getting his weight to the ground already. But the idea remains the same. Now, another thing that I want to point out real quick, okay, is in this last clip, not this one here, this is the same clip. Here, Manny Pacquiao is using his 1-2 to counter David Diaz's rhythm and timing, okay? Now, this is really interesting because of the fact that lead hand control is, again, going to be extremely important for Errol Spence. He's going to need to be able to tie this lead hand up with his own lead hand in order to slip forward and land this punch. Otherwise, as he comes forward with this kind of attempt, this kind of move, very similarly to Ali, because of the fact that Errol Spence does not protect these punches, because he doesn't always feint and probe, and again, Errol Spence, very similarly to Sonny Liston, only has one position, okay? Now we're going to watch this clip again. How often does he get his way to the front foot to feint and probe his opponent? Not really at all, right? He gets his way to the front foot so that he can throw his jab, right? And that position always looks exactly the same, which means that this left hand is going to be very predictable, but also his ability to get his way to the front foot is going to be predictable too. And a lot of the fight may wind up looking like this, right? As Errol Spence struggles to get his way to the front foot, similarly to the way that Diaz did in their fight here, trying to get his way to the front foot, trying to be the aggressive fighter, because every time he meets Pacquiao on the line, he's able to fight and take away that jab. So now, again, how does the fight play out, right? Will Manny Pacquiao have the strength to stop Errol Spence, or at least disincentivize Errol Spence from coming forward and trying to find free punches? Trying to find free punches like this uppercut that he lands here, again, without protecting his punches. Again, will Errol Spence be able to be more controlling of the line? Will he be able to feint and probe enough? Or will Manny Pacquiao not have made an adjustment to the way that he throws his 1-2 so that he can throw it from any position without having to throw his jab first, right? A lot of interesting questions and a lot of interesting stuff from these films. And again, my personal opinion, I think it's going to be a repeat. I think that, or a repeat, Sonny Liston versus Ali 3. I think it'll be a very similar thing. I think that Pacquiao's going to find the timing of Errol Spence's jab. And another thing I want to point out is the clips with Sonny Liston, we don't actually see an Errol Spence that's as fast and dynamic and explosive as Sonny Liston is, right? However, we do see a Manny Pacquiao that is as fast and explosive and dynamic as Muhammad Ali, right? Moving around, lots of angles, lots of speed, lots of punches, lots of movement. Again, lots of angles, right? Crossing the line a lot. We do see that. Even though Ali uses much more footwork, circling around to set his traps, and Manny Pacquiao is much more confident in his trap setting, right? He's much more willing to stand on the line and wait for you to throw your punch and engage with you, right? To counterpunch. So, again, I think that a lot of the advantages in this fight just line up really, really, really well with Manny Pacquiao. And again, I think this is one of the curses of being a pretty decent southpaw, right? It's not like Errol Spence is a bad fighter. He's a southpaw. He's hard to fight already because of that. Then he's also really, really tall, and he's pretty decent puncher, right? All of those things make it very difficult for him to fight people who are going to allow him to get better, right? So I think it's going to be a very similar thing, a difference in class between Errol Spence and Manny Pacquiao, and again, for very similar reasons. And again, the phantom punch is not a phantom punch. It just happens that this motion off this jab right here, as Sonny Liston jumps in the air, this is when he's getting punched in the face by one of the hardest punches he's ever been hit by, right? So it's just him throwing his momentum into another world-class athlete's punch. And, Ali, yeah, pretty sharp, pretty quick, pretty hard puncher.